Hi, this is Don McAllister and welcome to another edition of Screencasts Online. We've covered a lot of Mac apps in recent weeks, so this week I thought I'd take a look at two of my favourite apps for iOS, and that's Linea and Plotagraph Plus. Linea is a simple yet extremely powerful sketching tool from the Icon Factory. It works with touch but has been optimised for use with the Apple Pencil and is designed to get you up and running in no time at all. Linea also has integration with iCloud to share your sketches with other iPads, as well as a companion app, Linea Link, if you want to access your sketches on your Mac. Plotagraph Plus is a unique tool for both iPad and iPhone that allows you to add dramatic motion effects to still images. Now, because I will be showing you the Apple Pencil, I've decided to do this episode in live video, so slightly shorter than usual to try and keep the file size down. So let's take a look at Linea.